Hello， 大家好，欢迎回到外媒看中国，我是安博人。Breaking news: Following President Trump's cancelling of USAID funding to media across the world, the BBC has produced a shockingly fair and accurate report on China. They received millions and millions of dollars from Washington, D.C. over the past few years alone through that shady fund, which many believe came with strings attached in terms of editorial direction. In layman's terms, that means that the BBC and other media were very likely required to closely follow US interests in their reporting. But that has all come to an end with President Trump freezing hundreds of millions of dollars of secret payments to thousands of media outlets across the world, including the BBC. Who would have known that UK state media's main anti-China voice would change its tune so fast, putting out a short program that actually presents China in a fair and balanced way. Today, we'll take a closer look. This is Reports on China. I'm Andy Boreham in Shanghai. Let's get reporting. The BBC suddenly wakes up from its American dream. That's just one of thousands of comments under a new BBC report that shockingly presented China and what is happening here in a fair and honest light. The report, titled DeepSeek TikTok Temu, How China is Taking the Lead in Tech, runs for 7 minutes and is balanced and accurate, surprising many of BBC's own viewers who shared their thoughts below the video on YouTube. Cat commented, "This is the first time I felt that the TV license I paid is something of worth." Grace Linda added, "Is this BBC? You took the wrong pill today." Frogdo wrote, "Wait a minute, no dark filter, no negative tune, no nonsense spin. Is this the real BBC channel we know?" And this one's interesting. Faith Fitness asked, "Was anyone else waiting for that infamous BBC line, but at what cost?" And the BBC actually replied with a pair of glancing eyes. So why is everyone raving? Well, let's take a little look.
Huawei's market share shrank, and it couldn't get the microchips it needed to keep innovating. But it pivoted into microchip manufacturing and is now a major player in that too. In 2023, it released a phone with a microchip far beyond what the rest of the world thought was possible for the company or the country. A similar situation happened with the viral new chatbot DeepSeek. The firm says it couldn't get the most powerful chips to train its models, so it says it made do with older ones and innovated new techniques. They built the impressive bot for far less money with far less kit. For the US, it came as a shock.
DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser-focused on competing to win.
TikTok too has taken the West by surprise. It's the first non-US social network to succeed in the last 10 years. Its enormous success is under the spotlight though, and under threat from potential intervention by the US on national security grounds. But Shein and Temu are proving worthy challenges in e-commerce now too, thanks to combining China's cheap goods with innovative app technology.
Wow, very interesting. So why the sudden change? Well, many are attributing that to a freeze in USAID funding to the BBC, which received millions of dollars in just the last few years alone from Washington, D.C. Let's check the comments underneath the report again. Kevin commented, "BBC to US, if you cut my funding, I won't hesitate to show you what rebellion looks like." Foxtrot added, "Looks like the USAID payments to BBC have stopped." I3822 wrote, "Trump, I'm cancelling USAID, BBC. China is taking the lead in tech." It's a fair assumption and probably one that we should be cautious about. Now, there are two possibilities that I can see here if this change in editorial tone is actually related to USAID funding cuts. The first is the optimistic one, that the BBC feels it's finally free from US pressure to present China in a certain way, and is reveling in its independence and ability to report fairly and accurately, something the BBC used to be known for. But the second possibility is just like some of the viewers commented, that the BBC is just sending a warning shot to Washington, D.C. and telling them, get the payments started again, or we'll keep showing China in a fair and accurate light. Of course, I'm definitely hoping it's the former, because the Western world is seriously lacking in an accurate and realistic view of China in 2025, which is why they've been so shocked time and time again by China's successes over the past few years. Let's take a look. In 2019, a little-known Chinese social media app called TikTok exploded in the US, shocking the world. In 2023, China became the world's #1 car exporter, shocking the world. In 2024, millions of ordinary Americans discovered what China and Chinese people are really like when they found Red Note, shocking the world. In early 2025, DeepSeek, a free and open source AI model from China, became popular, shocking the world and wiping hundreds of billions of dollars from the market value of American tech companies. So why did all of these things shock the world? Well, exactly because of mainstream media outlets like the BBC constantly portraying China as this dark, dirty, dangerous, dystopian place filled with brainwashed and obedient people who are controlled by an evil authoritarian government. Why would they be anything but shocked when China makes these massive successes? Now, I want to go back to that BBC report again that surprised so many viewers with its accurate representation of China. Now, most of you know that I've lived here in China for a decade, and I've always been frustrated with how Western media portrays China and Chinese cities as dark and grey and gloomy by either finding footage that matches that feeling or simply adding grey filters. In fact, it became so common that millions of Chinese people now refer to that very look as the BBC filter. But check out their new report, which shows Chinese cities exactly how they look to those of us living here. Now, isn't that a stunning turn of events? And again, that's why the Western world is so shocked every time China innovates and succeeds. And they're similarly shocked when they visit here for the first time and realize they've been tricked by the Western mainstream media. The BBC, CNN, The Washington Post, ABC, 60 Minutes, and all of the other Western mainstream media outlets are doing a massive disservice to their viewers by constantly portraying China the way they have been. Trust in mainstream media in the West is already at historic lows. In 2021, the Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism did a study which placed the US in last place out of 46 countries surveyed for trust in the media. Last place. In 2023, Gallup polls found that only 7% of adults have a great deal of trust in the media. And that is exactly because of their deceptive and manipulative reporting on countries like China. So this is my message to the BBC and others like it. Stay away from US funding and bring your outlets back to reality. The people will thank you for it. And on that note, that will be it for today, you guys. But as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did the BBC take a sudden turn after finally becoming free of dirty money from Washington, DC? Do you think it will last? Do let me know down below, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help the channel. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.